and welcome to another session in English language. And today we're going to focus on first comprehension, and then auxiliaries, and lastly on photography. But before we get into all of that, let us review the previous lesson. Welcome back. Like I said, we're beginning today's lesson with comprehension and with the subtitle comprehending words. Like I told you, comprehension is about understanding. Okay? So, you must understand or have an understanding of the meaning of a given word used in the context or in the passage. In other words, there is what we call contextual meaning. So you don't just supply meaning of words. Okay? It's enough for you to know the individual meaning of every word, but more importantly, when it has to do with comprehension, you should know the contextual meaning of such words. That is, how was it used in the passage. It's very important that you take note of that. Okay? So, another thing again we need to take note of is that in the questions you'll be asked, you will be asked to supply words that are nearest in meaning. You are asked to supply a phrase or words that are nearest in meaning to the words that are, as they are used in the word passage. Now, so what they are requiring from you here is what? Synonym. But not just any synonym, contextual synonyms. Find words that can replace, that can fit exactly how it is used in the passage. So before that, these are useful hints that will help you on that. So before the meaning of the word can be given, get back to the passage and see how, consider how it was what used. Okay, consider how it was what used. Then also, the given word you want to use to replace, I told you to test its equivalent in the word passage and see if the original meaning will still be retained. Okay? If the original meaning would not be retained, I'm sorry, you have to find another word. And that is why we keep saying, develop your vocabulary. When you come across words, look them up in the dictionary and know what they mean. Okay, that would only help you or guide you. But more importantly, you should have a rich vocabulary. Okay? Now, let's see examples. When you say probity now, these are synonyms of probity. We have words like honesty. We have words like decency. We have words like integrity. We have words like uprightness, saintliness. So all these words are synonyms to the word probity. We have vehemently. We could use strongly. We could use forcefully. Then we have jealous. We have envious. So all these words are equivalents of the words as used. Okay? So let's move on to the other part of our lesson today, and that is auxiliaries will and would. When do I use will and when do I use would? Now, will shows first what you call simple futurity. It shows simple futurity in the second person. Okay? Shows simple futurity in the second person. Okay? So let's take an example on that. So the second and third person, singular and plural, we use will. So will agrees with you. And also at the plural level. You will, he will, she will, it will. Then it also agrees with what? They will. And what are we using to express simple futurity. We can also use will to express determination in the first person. So what it expresses in second and third person is different from what in the first person. So if I use will with the first person, it does not denote futurity, it denotes determination. I will, we will. It shows or denotes determination. So let's look at examples. They will visit us next month. So that's showing futurity. The plane will take off second in a few seconds. So that's futurity. Okay? But when we are saying determination, I will not agree with the teacher. That's your determination. I will not agree with the teacher. So you are not showing or denoting futurity. You are denoting what is called determination. Then also you can use your will to make or to express your promise. Okay, I will give you a nice gift on your birthday. Okay, so that is a promise. Then a threat, I will dismiss you from service. Okay, then also it can mean also willingness. I will type the letter, meaning I am willing to type the letter. Then also will can be used to talk about characteristics. He will watch journalists hang out on television in the evening. Okay, I suppose he will be elected as senior prefect. That's to express probability. Okay, and you can also use it to indicate an invitation or a polite request. For instance, to say, will you have a cup of coffee? That is a polite request. Will you come home with me? That is a polite, a formal invitation. Okay? Then will is the past tense of will. Okay? It is also used in the indirect speech. I will see you tomorrow. She said, I will see you tomorrow. She told me she would see me the next day. So that is would expressing what you call indirect speech. Okay, then also you can use would to express willingness. Okay, she would apply for the job, determination. The nurse said she would look after the patient. It simply means the nurse is willing to neglect her responsibilities and her biases and attend to the patient. Okay, so we can also use would to express a past habit. He would return home and read the newspaper daily. So you could also use it to express a wish or an intention. I would love to meet her someday. It will be my wish to meet her someday. And also we have, she wishes she would visit Burkama. She wishes she would visit, so she has intention of visiting Burkama. So let's move on to the other part of English today, and that is photography. So we want to look at words associated with photography. So let's begin with the first one. We need to have what is called the dark room. Now the dark room was used then for production or developing of photographs. But today we no longer have a dark room. Then we used to make what is called a film. Okay, a film is a medium used to capture images in a camera, especially what you call an analog camera. But we know that today, film is no longer in existence. What we have are memory cards, okay, on digital cameras. Okay, then you could say that the picture is blurred. Okay, and when you say picture is blurred, it means the picture is hazy or deep or obscure, not visible. Okay, then we have to pose. To pose. To pose means to take a fixed position, when taking a photograph. Take a fixed position when taking a photograph. Then we have what we call your lens. Your lens is the part of your photo, your camera that allows images, to be formed on it, especially when light passes through it. So every camera, whether digital or analog, have lenses. Okay, we have what? Lenses. The same thing, we used to have what we call negative. Like I told you, when we were making your film, you have what we call negative, but today you don't have negative. You have what you call your electronic copies. Okay, so you can just snap your pictures, take your memory card, work on it in your system, and you send the electronic copies to your clients. Okay, then we have what we call studio. That's your workroom. That's like your workshop. Okay, studio. Then we have what we call the aperture. The aperture is the opening of the lens, the size of the opening of the lens. Then we have what we call the focal length. Focal length is the distance between the lens and the image. The distance between the lens and the image. Okay? Then we have what we call exposure. Exposure has to do with the amount of light that reaches the camera sensor. Okay, that's what we refer to as what? Exposure. Then we have what we call ISO, International Organization for Standardization. They are concerned with astrophotography. That is, how do people get into outer space and get pictures? Okay, so they develop cameras and also they sponsor research work on that. Then we have what we call JPEG. JPEG is an acronym for Joint Photography Experts Group. I repeat, JPEG is an acronym for Joint Photography Experts Group. So every time you see this word JPEG, it simply means we're talking about the Joint Photographic Experts Group. Okay, and it also refers to the standard formats in which pictures are to be compressed. So there's an agreement, there's a standardized, format that you can compress your pictures to. Okay, so there's also what we call noise. Noise is a visual distortion, okay, that affects your colored specs on a photo. Okay, so that's not as possible to get rid of the noise, okay, so that it doesn't damage the picture. Okay, then we have what you call the pixel. The pixel is the smallest unit of programmable color. The smallest unit of programmable color. Alright? And we have resolution. Resolution has to do with the dimension of your camera sensor, okay, when capturing an image. Okay, so some resolutions are small and we have others that are great. Okay, so the higher the resolution, the better it allows the photographer to capture large amounts of details on their picture. Then we have what we call shutter speed. Shutter speed has to do with the length of time the camera sensor is exposed to light when taking a photo. Okay, so it's very important that we take note of all these terms or words used in photography. So some of you might develop interest tomorrow. Okay, some of you might develop interest tomorrow. How many of you have captured a picture before that looks blurred of subjects in motion? That is, the thing was moving when you captured or snapped the picture. Okay, so that is an example. It took some minutes for the shutter to, cover, alright, the image. Alright? So then we have watermarks. Watermarks is a piece of text or image added to what? A photo in order to distinguish it. Okay? A watermark is a piece of text or image added to what? A photo in order to identify ownership of its copyright. Remember we talked about copyright. Okay? So we don't remove people's watermarks. Okay? Don't remove people's watermarks except you are granted permission. And lastly, we have zoom. Zoom lenses are those whose focal length are modified. Okay, so photographers make subjects appear closer than it really is. Okay, so today we have prime lenses and the like. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining the lesson. And in order to refresh your memory and recall all that has been taught in the course of time, I would encourage that you take the test that appears on your screen.